images are really so much the record of our civilization. And were it not for really industrious people who have cared about it and rescued and saved these films and done the technical work to keep them looking like they should look into perpetuity, that's what this institution is about, and they do a wonderful job. And so there was no question in my mind where I would send the materials that went into making the Kennedy Center Honors. For 37 years, we produced the show and put stuff in Beacon storage out in Los Angeles, just really because of my American Film Institute preservation experience. I knew how important that was. You'd be amazed how few things that are produced for television do people realize the importance. And they move and they go on to another studio, and 10 years later, nobody knows where such and such a program is. So all of that for the Kennedy Center Honors is in the Library of Congress. Just briefly, to kind of elaborate on what Mike said, why the Kennedy Center Honors, it was true. The 10th anniversary of the American Film Institute, our offices were in the Kennedy Center, the East Coast offices, and we wanted to celebrate our 10th anniversary, and Roger Stevens, no relation, the head of the Kennedy Center, agreed that we could use the Opera House, and we had a 10th anniversary with a White House reception for the film artists, and then a show in the Kennedy Center that was a 2-hour special on CBS. And it was a great success, and afterwards I went down and thanked Roger and said to him, you should have your own show for the Kennedy Center. And he said, well, do you have any ideas? And I had an idea, and it was that America should honor its greatest performing artists. And that became the Kennedy Center Honors, and we did the first one in December of 1978. Then we have done this preservation project with Dottie McCarthy and Bill Rush and all the people who work here. And when Mike Michon proposed this evening, Bill and Dottie and I put our heads together, and there were, 195 Kennedy Center honorees in the 37 years that I produced the show. And so we had to kind of figure out what would make an evening that would be somewhat representative and entertaining. And so we made some choices, and you will decide in the next hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours whether you liked our choices. And so all I'll say briefly is that the idea of the Kennedy Center Honors was to recognize people for their lifetime contribution to the performing arts. And it is an extraordinary group of people who have received those honors through the years. And we're going to begin with the first Kennedy Center Honors, back to the very beginning. And we will show you part of that, and then segments from 2 other of the relatively early Kennedy Center Honors shows. And then we'll just have a little break, just to kind of take a breath, and I'll come back and do a little bit of an introduction to the remainder of the show. So I do hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to watching it with you. All right.